Okay, so today is going to be very busy, but I'm very excited about today because we have a new little twist on the vlog in which we're going to have our first guest. Brian Grams, who is the associate pastor here at Ridgeline, is going to join me today as we talk about Job chapter 29 through 31. So I'm excited about this. Yeah, I think it's a hat kind of day.
I'm just a ghetto farm kid, never did till I went to the city.
So, yeah.
Aren't you supposed to look at me now?
I can do like both.
Okay.
We can do both, right? What's up, everybody? Greg here with the J137 vlog, and this is Mr. Brian Grams.
Just Brian.
Just Brian.
Yes.
Yeah, so I told you about the exciting guest we have joining the vlog today. This is our exciting guest, so we're really glad that you're here.
Sorry about the glare.
The glare.
Uh-huh.
I'm getting there soon.
Uh-huh.
We can have a glare together. That's why I wear hats in these videos. So. Anyway, so thank you for joining me on this.
Yes.
And yeah. And today we're looking at Job chapter, what was it? Job chapter
29 to 31.
29 to 31. But before we jump into the text, I have a couple questions for our guest. Are you ready? You ready?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Here's the first question. When you meet someone for the first time, what is it that you want that person to know about you?
I think first impressions, mainly I just want to make sure I look people in the eye and let them know that I see them as a human being who was created by God and loved by Him. So first impressions are look them in the eye, talk to them directly, and if there's a handshake, make sure it's firm.
Sweet. So the next question I have is like, would you rather?
Okay.
And I think, and this question will reveal like certain things about you that you really enjoy, I think. So, would you rather go to every single game in a World Series that the Rockies are not in, or go to a Super Bowl that the Broncos are playing in?
Oh, definitely a Super Bowl if the Broncos are in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So with that question, I totally thought you were going to go the World Series route.
No. Now, if it was, would I go to one Rockies World Series game or a Super Bowl with the Broncos? I'd pick a Rockies World Series game.
Okay, gotcha.
Because it's only happened once.
Right.
In over 25 years.
That's true. And then one more question.
Okay.
What is most fulfilling? Okay, here we go. I can edit this, so this won't seem as choppy as it is right now. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. What is most fulfilling, or what do you find most fulfilling in your calling as a pastor?
I think what I find most fulfilling is being able to teach, whether it's one-on-one or a group of people, and watching what you teach actually be applied by the people you're teaching.
Nice.
Yeah. And then secondly, I think what's most fulfilling is just when you're able to watch someone go from darkness to light and trust in Christ, and you get to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So that was two, not one.
That's
okay. Jesus says love your neighbor and love God when they ask Him for one command.
Right.
So,
I don't think I specified, I said what is most fulfilling, but no, it's good. That's awesome. Cool. Well, awesome. Thanks for answering those questions. And we're just going to talk a little bit about Job chapters 29 through 31. So what I'll do is just real quick kind of summarize the chapters, and then I want to hear from Brian, what he read, like kind of what he took away from these three chapters. Chapter 29 is really, at least it seems like Job's kind of reminiscing and like wishing for the times before all the horrible stuff started happening to him, and he's kind of wishing that.
Right.
Chapter 30 then is, it's connected to that in that Job is basically saying that those people that are very low in society, they now are like scoffing him and mocking him, and like it just kind of communicates how low Job has gotten. And then chapter 31 is really like Job's final like, here's all the cards on the table. Maybe I have done something wrong. I don't know, but here I am, and kind of at the end of his argument, or so
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything to add to those summaries of the chapters.
Yeah, I would say that Job 29 through 31 are Job over and over again tells his friends how out to lunch they are in their theology. But then it's Job struggling with that same theology. That for most of my life, it worked. I did what God asked me to do. I had a pure heart. And God paid me back with an amazing family. And I was well respected. And, a big word is glory. He had a lot of human glory. There was heaviness to who he was. Because even if you look between 29 and 30, it goes from him being heavy and the glory to just being thought of very lightly by even the worst in society. So it's Job struggling with, I thought this is how life worked, and it isn't how life works now, and I don't know what to do about it.
That's good. That's really good. I think probably in a little bit of what you shared there, is a little bit of answering this next question. But what were some things that you took away from these 3 chapters and reading them and studying them? Just a couple takeaways.
Yeah, I think the thing that really hit me is Job is kind of like the whole book of Job is you see Job before and then during the suffering and then a little bit afterwards. And I think this more than any place is where Job, he's basically been discouraged by his friends. God doesn't make sense to him anymore. And he's just saying, I don't get it. And I know this is weird, but it mainly reminds me of Psalm 73. Because in Psalm 73, we kind of see the end of the psalmist, and it's Asaph.
Yeah.
And he says in verse 2, he says obviously in verse 1, truly God is good to Israel and to the pure in heart. Then he says in verse 2, but as for me, my feet had almost stumbled. My steps had nearly slipped. And this Asaph is telling us, like, at the end, when he figured things out and realized, it doesn't matter if things are messed up. But when I go into then the tabernacle, into God's presence, the special place where God is, I look up, and it doesn't matter if it makes sense because I know that God's still on my side. But Job, what really hit me in these chapters is, Job sounds pretty confident sometimes when he's talking to his friends, but here, there's very little confidence because his feet are still slipping. He still just doesn't understand. And that's mainly. So first of all, verse 31, as a youth pastor, it's always one of the verses that we always throw out to the guys with pornography.
Right.
He hasn't done that, right? Like he made a covenant with his eyes. Must be the NIV that makes it sound a little bit more positive than that. But then he says in verse 9, if my heart has been enticed towards a woman, if I'd lain in wait at my neighbor's door. And then he says in verse 10, let my wife grind for another, and let others bow down on her. For that would be a heinous crime. That would be iniquity to be punished by the judges. That would be a fire that consumed as far as a bad, and it would burn to the root all my increase. So over and over, Job's like, hey, if I'd done this stuff, my life should be falling apart.
Right.
Yeah.
But
his life's falling apart, and he hadn't done all of that. Right. He had made that covenant to pursue no one but his wife, and all those things. And it just over and over again, Job's like, I don't get it. And eventually Job gets to that point where he looks up, and that's enough.
Right.
You know? But I think it's important to understand, like with the psalmist and with Job, that God never tells Job, stop thinking this way, stop saying this. He basically comes to Job where he is and says, I'm big enough, you know?
Right.
And I think it's important both to understand those two things, that God's not afraid of wherever we are. And whatever we want to say to him, as long as we're saying it to him, he can handle it. At the same time, sooner or later, he's going to show up and, just be willing to wait for him, I guess.
Yeah.
Whereas, I think, too often, when things go wrong, and usually they go wrong, humanly speaking, like with some other relationship, instead of going to God and telling God, I don't understand, or even like David, I wish you would, slaughter this person, whatever, we go to other people. And that's where we're really not supposed to go. Right.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting going through Job and, that thought, like that idea that Job and his friends had of, you do good, you get good stuff. You do bad, you get bad stuff. And how, like, that is, you see that played out through this entire conversation. And and at the end of it, it just magnifies the bigness of God. God is going to do what He wants to do, and yeah, it's pretty powerful. It's pretty interesting stuff. So,
Just a dad joke.
yes,
You know who the shortest man in the Bible is, right?
yes.
Who is it?
Shortest man in the Bible. My mind is going to Zacchaeus, but it's not Zacchaeus.
So some would say knee-high Maya, because he's knee-high. But it's actually Bildad, the shoe height.
Oh,
Only
okay.
the height of a shoe.
Nice. I was, I was like trying to get like I was actually thinking theologically, like,
Right.
what is the
No.
like?
I told you it was a dad joke.
You did.
It
I should have.
It wasn't a biblical.
I should have listened to
Being
Dad.
being shoe height. That's pretty
That's
short.
pretty good. So Bildad, the shortest guy in the Bible, maybe. Awesome. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
And yeah, this was awesome. Super encouraging. And I guess that's it.
Okay.
Peace.
Bye. Shalom.
Shalom. Yeah, there you go. That was super fun doing that with Brian Grams. It made Job way more interesting than it has been lately. And I love all the Bible, but I'm not gonna lie, I can't wait till we get out of Job.
I'm just a ghetto farm kid, never who, never what, never did, till I went to the city. Come on, I'll admit that I did, yes I did, on purpose. Wear my shoes to a wedding,